Mr. Msibi, Sergeant Nkosi, and quite possibly Mr. Motsumi and Mr. Molefi, will get to them later, have a plan to sell grabber technology to the Kingdom of Eswatini. And it tricks nearby mobile phones to connect with it rather than the cell phone tower. And then you can download what is on the communications from the mobile phone that are connected to your grabber as opposed to the nearby cell phone tower. And at chat number 4 on the 20th of January 2023, the person who we will call Sean Jacobs, because that's what Sergeant Nkosi calls him, writes to Sergeant Nkosi, "Hello Fani, please give me a call when you have a moment. I want to know if the Swazi deal is still on the table." We see in chat number 1 that Sergeant Nkosi, after receiving the message from Mr. Jacobs, forwards a screenshot of that message to Mr. Msibi. We see that Mr. Msibi tells Sergeant Nkosi in relation to the earlier screenshot of "is the deal still on the table?" He says it's on the table, but they have to display. We don't want to become fools. Now, IMSI stands for International Mobile Subscriber Identity. So an IMSI catcher is something that catches a mobile identity. And in colloquial terms, it's a grabber. What it does is it's a surveillance device that mimics a legitimate cell phone tower, cellular tower. And it tricks nearby mobile phones to connect with it rather than the cell phone tower. And then you can download what is on the communications from the mobile phone that are connected to your grabber as opposed to the nearby cell phone tower. If we go back, it's quite clear in this context that the Czech Republic, having a sense of responsibility in relation to this technology, will not let its companies sell it to anyone they want. It can only be sold to authorized representatives, presumably not just of foreign states, but also of foreign states with whom the Czech Republic is happy to share this sort of technology. And then comes a very important document. In that document, is sent by Mr. Jacobs to Sergeant Nkosi at 7:23, and straight after sending it, he says, "Fani, can you put it on a SAPS letterhead or your agency, you're with, we won't share it with anyone." So Mr. Jacobs is saying, can you put this draft letter on a SAPS letterhead? Or if you represent some other agency, on that letterhead, we won't share it with anyone. And Sergeant Nkosi says, so I'm signing and then I'll put a stamp. Now, if we go to that document, it is at page 129, and it's an interesting document, the draft document, because it explains what this demonstration is all about. It is a draft that is addressed to the Ministry of Trade and Industry of the Czech Republic. That letter itself appears at page 130. And it is identical to the draft, except that Sergeant Nkosi has now signed it, given his force number, and put a SAPS stamp on it. So Sergeant Nkosi has represented to the Czech government that they that Infosys will be demonstrating to the South African police, and that for this reason Infosys should be allowed to do so. And what will emerge is that Mr. Msibi, Sergeant Nkosi, and quite possibly Mr. Motsumi and Mr. Molefe, will get to them later, have a plan to sell grabber technology to the Kingdom of Eswatini. Now, of course, that's not what the Czech Republic has been told at all. The Czech Republic has been told that this is a demonstration for the South African Police Service. If we follow this plan, and we run down from page 120, chat 1, Mr. Jacob says, thank you, sir, I'll be available for you. Chat 2, Sergeant Nkosi is responding to that earlier message, which is, let me know if Ubaba is happy, and he says, yes, he's happy. And then the process continues. If one goes to page 121, chat number 7, the foot of the page. Hi, Fani, I hope you're well. We need the company name for the contract with Infosys, and Infosys, again, was the Czech company that makes this equipment. And the email address we need to send the contract to, this will come directly from the Czech company. Over the page, this way Ubaba is protected if anyone tries to go behind his back. Hello, Fani, hope all is well. I'm still waiting on the info for Baba's company and email details. Sergeant Nkosi responds sharp, I'm sending. Hello, Fani, hope you're well. Are we still on track? And this is now the 7th of March, and Sergeant Nkosi says, yes, tomorrow morning the king is having a final meeting with the old man. And that presumably would be the king of Eswatini. And Mr. Jacob says, okay, great, thanks. Now, it seems that the deal was lost, because if one goes to page 112, one sees that on the 17th of October, Sergeant Nkosi forwards to Mr. Msibi a message that seems to come from a partner of Sean. My brother, I'm really disappointed. It's 111, sorry, 111, chat 4. Foot of 111, but not 112, sorry. My brother, I'm really disappointed about how things worked out on the Kingdom deal. 1 minute things are coming together, the next minute all of you are quiet. Shane, I think that should be Sean, or maybe Sergeant Nkosi has the name wrong and it's Shane, not Sean, tries to call you, but he never gets hold of you. I also tried to get hold of you, but you never come back to me. You know, there's so much more work we wanted to do with you. We have many solutions that are in demand by governments, but we want to do this deal first before we can introduce other solutions. I take it this deal is off now. And that's the last that we see of that deal. But what we do see is that in parallel with this process, Mr. Msibi, Mr. Motsumi, and Mr. Molefe are exploring other options.
What are we to make of Sergeant Nkosi signing documents on behalf of SAPS and purporting to represent SAPS in future agreements with either it's an international organization or international suppliers? What inference are we to draw?
Well, I think the inference is that that's an out-and-out fraud, but it's a fraud to which everyone involved in that project is party. Everyone involved in that project with knowledge of Sergeant Nkosi's letter was also involved. But the only people that we can identify in that regard are Mr. Msibi, who's no longer alive, and Shane or Sean. We don't know who else was aware of this. We don't even know whether the Czech company were aware of who they were dealing with.
Because my concern, we're talking about a grabber here. We don't know what else. I mean, you can see one conduct where he's signing and putting a stamp and force number to allow an international organization to come and make a demonstration to private individuals in South Africa. What if it was weapons and other things that are not authorized by SAPS?
We don't know, but it is a very legitimate question, Commissioner. I mean, we did see the exchanges with the man whom he saved as Deputy President Didi Mabuza, who Mr. Mashile, I think, who seemed to have been suggesting an arms deal. We don't know where it ended.
And what does it say about the use of stamps at SAPS? I mean, if any captain or constable can just
But
put a stamp.
I think every captain must have a stamp, just because they have to use the stamp in their official duties. So, for instance, you go into your local police station to get an oath commissioned, the captain uses his stamp to commission your oath. It's how the stamp is used, and of course, a South African looking at that document would think, no, this doesn't on its face come with, this on its face doesn't confer the authority of the SAPS to deal with a grabber. But someone in the Czech Republic wouldn't have the faintest idea whether this was, how South Africans issue authority at the highest levels of SAPS or not. So the risk is particularly heightened in relation to transactions with foreign countries or with foreign entities.
Thank you.
Mr. Chaskalson, this conduct by Sergeant Nkosi that you're discussing with Commissioner Khumalo, specifically the letter and the stamping on the face of it, is obviously prosecutable. That's why you refer to it as fraudulent conduct. Have we had the opportunity to investigate or find out who is this Sean Jacobs that he's speaking to? Because if it's a South African national, then they sit in exactly the same position as Sergeant Nkosi, criminal offense. Have we had the opportunity to investigate that?
We haven't yet traced Sean Jacobs. I must confess, we haven't made a huge effort to trace Sean or Shane Jacobs. There are no obvious details relating to him other than the cell phone number, and that doesn't automatically lead to someone who, on his or her face, is Sean Jacobs or Shane Jacobs.
Sergeant Nkosi would have to say who is Sean Jacobs. Thank you.
And our investigators could also look into it.
I'm not sure they will thank me for that. They have quite a lot on their plates at the moment, but we will look further.